setting wrong, so like I couldn't monetize it or something like that. So yeah, sorry for that. Let me just reload here. All right, here we go. So yeah, sorry for that, guys. I should have the chat here. So yeah, here we go. Where is the chat here? Okay. All right, here we go. So hi, Serta. Sorry for before, but the phone was just I just saved the wrong setting. All right. I hope you guys can see here. I'm in my room right now, and it's very hot. So that's why I don't know if you can see it. There is uh, the ventilator. I don't know how to call it really. It's just giving me some air really because it's super hot in my room. And yeah, I didn't really wanna know what to do today. I just wanted to stream something different. You know, I've been uploading so many Infinite to the two videos that I think just been doing too much content of that. So I just wanted to do something different. And yeah, I'm here. So if you guys have any questions, or actually I received some comments with some questions in the past, so maybe I can answer to those. And then if you guys have any more questions, you know, I would be more than happy to answer them. I don't know if you know it, but I'm a physical therapist. You know, I've graduated last year, and I've started working as a physical therapist like at the end of January. So it's been like almost 6 months since I started working. And yeah, it's just the physical therapist in Italy, it's a little bit different from like other countries. And here, for example, like the physical therapist is only about like rehabilitation, and especially when you're recovering from either like an accident or trauma, or in case you have any injuries, right? It's especially, the physical therapist is gonna take you through that rehabilitation process at the beginning, and then that's it. Like if you're an athlete and you have injured yourself, the physical therapist job just ends right after the pain that goes away, and then it comes once again another figure, because in Italy there are like different figures. It comes another figure that is gonna be the one that's gonna set up like the training program and all that, right, to just recover more. So it's just unfortunate that in Italy there isn't just one single figure that does both. You have these two different figures, and so what happens is that many times physical therapists tend to do a little bit more than what they should, and these other figures, that they, these trainers, they tend also to rehabilitate. So it's unfortunately it's not very clear, and that's why here in Italy, like there are a lot of people that are complaining about the other the others, because they are feeling like they're taking away their jobs, and so it's just a pretty unfortunate situation in Italy. But overall, as a physical therapist, you have all the knowledge to be able to go through the processes of rehabilitating someone in case they have any kind of injuries or any kind of problems related to pain, dysfunctions, and so on. And then you also have the knowledge, some basic knowledge, about the training and like what exercises to do, how to do them, and in order to improve and to get rid of the pain, or like correct if there are some things to educate again, maybe some behavioral or some postural problems. So a lot of exercises. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird figure here in Italy. I know that in other countries it's much better, but yeah, it is what it is, and that's what I am. I'm a physical therapist, and so I always like to, whenever I do, either workout videos or when I'm explaining, what I'm doing, I always like to add a little bit more information, right? Not just training, just following some routines or following exercises, but really understanding why you're doing one exercise than another, and how you're hitting your muscles in different ways, and how, for example, many exercises that are gonna actually help you to prevent injuries, right? or to allow you to keep on training healthy without having the risk, of developing injuries in the long term. And I think that's very important, as an athlete, or even if you're just an amatorial athlete, that train for yourself for fun, like I am. And so, you wanna be as long lasting as possible. You don't wanna reach your 30s or your 40s full of problems in your joints, or having the body full of pain because of the fact that you just trained and you neglected all those things that you could have done that you didn't. So yeah. And a question I received just very quickly. I think I have just wrote them down here. All right. So a question I received is my nutrition, plan, diet. If I eat something weird, or if I follow any particular diet and stuff like that. I don't. So I don't follow any particular nutrition plan, or any diet. It's no. I never look at nutrition as I'm only supposed to eat certain foods. I don't think it in that way, uh, because of the fact I just like to eat different things. And of course, my nutrition it's good. I eat many different things, lots of vegetables, and different sources of protein, right? So either meat or vegetables, um, like chicken, fish, all that stuff. And um, and then I eat lots of pasta. Here in Italy it's very famous, so pasta, rice, or any other carbohydrates source foods. So yeah, in reality, I don't follow a strict diet. So for example, I have to eat this food, these different foods during the day, and then in another day I have these other foods, and so on. I don't have any of that sort. I I like to keep myself in check in terms of not always eating too much, and no, something that you just ask sometimes your body, how it feels. For example, if I train more, I tend to be more hungry, and that's okay because you have spent more energy, so you also tend to be more hungry. Your body's asking for more energy, so I tend to eat maybe more then. But if I haven't particularly done anything, my body itself is not asking me much, and so I tend to eat not as much. And I know that this is something that many people struggle with, being able to know how much to eat. But personally, for me, since I was around 18, 17, 18, I always followed this kind of behavior in which I never feel myself until I feel bad, until I feel oh, I've eaten too much. I never reach that point, and I always keep myself with a little of appetite, and then just listening to your body, just strictly following what your body's asking you, depending of course on how your day has been, your training, and that's it. So sorry, a question here from the Nege. Hi, welcome, good day. Good day to you as well. And so, just because you guys asked for it, my normal day, right? I have breakfast. And normally in breakfast, I eat cereals or bread or biscuits sometimes, or any other of carbohydrates kind of source. Sometimes I also eat marmalade. Sometimes I eat cheese. And normally I eat it with either tea or soy milk. I don't drink normal milk because I don't really digest it too well, so that's why I prefer drinking other milks like soy milk or even almond milk. But it's not something you have to do. So that's just me. And then halfway through the morning, I always eat something. So for example, either a fruit or a very normally it's a fruit, but sometimes also even a snack. For example, those honey biscuits, or sometimes is like a plum, and no, it just depends. But normally it's a fruit and biscuits. Like normally it's a fruit with something else. Halfway through the morning, so like a couple of hours after I had my breakfast, then I have lunch, and at lunch normally I always eat like tend to eat pasta or some other kind of again carbohydrate source food. So like sometimes even rice, sometimes like here in the summer, right? It's very hot, so we tend to eat the like pasta salads. So like it's pasta with like mozzarella, with cheese, with ham, with lettuce, with tomatoes, like a bunch of stuff together, onion, and the more you have, the more you put it, and you just eat that. That it's a bit more fresh than like a hot dish of pasta. But normally that's pretty much it. I don't tend to eat that much protein in my lunch. Sometimes, if it's from the previous evening, maybe I do, but normally I don't. And then, and yeah, I don't normally eat fruit right after I finish my lunch. I normally like tend to wait at least 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and then I have my fruit. Then again, I have the in the afternoon, right? Maybe 3 hours after lunch, I have my another like snack. So again, like normally in the afternoon, I tend to eat a little bit more. So sometimes like normally it's biscuits or bread, or once again another source of carbohydrates. Bread with sometimes is again cheese. Sometimes it's just bread. Sometimes it's I eat like yogurt or like juice, things like that, just to have like a nice snack. And then it's dinner. Dinner normally is where I eat most of my like vegetables and proteins. Like I don't eat normally anything or carbohydrates, right? And I only eat like either fish or chicken or meat or anything else that provides proteins. So normally that's how we do in our family. And then we accompany that always with like a salad that's many, again, different types. It can be just lettuce, different types of lettuces, then tomatoes, mozzarella, and I don't know, like sometimes we then put like apples inside, like carrots, um, corn, whatever, and just a lot of things in the salad. So we eat normally, proteins with salad, and that's what we do in the dinner. And then again, I don't eat my fruit right away. Dinner, I always wait a couple of maybe 1 hour, and then I eat again another fruit, and sometimes even a sweet. Like it can be a very small ice cream, or like a pudding, or we have like cake or anything of that sort. I like to not always, like not every evening, but like every 2 3 days. Just having that snack in the like a couple of hours after dinner. It's just nice. And I'm not like a sweet lover, so I don't tend to eat that many sweets because I don't really like them that much. But a little bit, it's just nice. And then that's it. That's my day of nutrition. And every day, of course, we tend to change slightly what we eat, but structurally, it's pretty much this. So like breakfast, then snack, then lunch, then another snack, then dinner, and then the last snack. So that's it. Remember, it's very important, as I said before, to not only have good nutrition, like approaching food correctly. Don't really thinking about food as something that could do you bad, but think always of food like it's something that you need, right? That your body needs, and therefore you're eating because you need to eat, and that's gonna make you feel good. That's gonna help you to keep on training and keep on being healthy. So have a positive relationship with food. Don't think of food as something that you have to like resist, or you have to somehow minimize and limit. So just a healthier approach with food and nutrition overall, I think helps a lot. And then Training, of course, it's very important. No, you can eat perfectly, but then if you don't train consistently and you don't have a good plan for training, of course, much of that food, it's converted into, I don't know, like fat or storage or things that you don't really need. So of course, you need to train and eat together. And then remember as well, something that people many times overlook is a healthy lifestyle around these two things. So it's not just training and food, it's also healthy lifestyle. For example, drinking lots of water, having plenty of sleep. I've been doing and I will do actually a more advanced course on how sleep is actually related to a bunch of problems in both athletes and in normal people. And not sleeping properly, like not sleeping at least 7 hours and a half each night, can really make you lose concentration, lose focus. You are not as reactive. You don't have the attention levels. Your reaction time increases. Your body, you just cannot. It's more fatigued. Your mind is not really bright. So those are all things that come from sleeping bad. So sleeping good, sleeping for at least 7 hours and a half or even more. And if you're like younger, should sleep a little bit more. And doing sleeping good for continually, not really longer breaks. Like for example, you wake up at night and then you like in an hour you can't go back to sleep. That's something very bad, and you should working on that. How can you make your sleep so that if you ever wake up, you can always like turn, you can just keep on sleeping. So sleeping good is something super important for everything, for your job, for your work, for school, for training, for anything and everything. So remember always to sleep well and avoid bad habits. For example, drinking alcohol, smoking, or eating junk food or lots of junk food. Like for example, eating soda, all these processed foods or processed drinks. No, it's not that you should like avoid them entirely. It's good, every now and then, maybe once a week, to have a beer with friends or to go out and have like maybe a soda or to, I don't know. It's good, once a week, but you shouldn't start doing it consistently. Like each day you start doing and you start drinking too much. Or start eating too much junk food and processed foods and drinks. So that's what I recommend. And that's it for this question. For the nutrition, I have a video I think that I uploaded in the past where I also discuss a bit of these things. But yeah, I'm 26 years old, if you guys didn't know, so I'm not super young. And I've been training for a long time, since I was around 17. And yeah, it does work for me, so I think it can also work for you. So that was the first question. The second question, I think it was regarding the training. If I have a specific like training program and how do I train during the week. Now lately, since I started working, I really have lost track a little bit of my training programs because of work, and you don't really have that much free time to, I don't know, to like train as much as you maybe would want to. And that's exactly what happened to me. And also because of the fact that in the house, yes, you can do some exercises, but not many. And here, the my room is also smaller than what I had before. There isn't much room here to do a lot of things, motions, movements. So yeah, I had to adapt, and unfortunately, I have been training a bit less as well during the week. Now I train like I always try to go once a week to the park, and I train like mostly pull-ups, dips, and muscle-ups, right? So those are the ones are the exercises that you need, like a pull-up bar, you need the parallel bars, you need something. So that's where I have to go, there, and that's why I go to with my bike. And if you see any of my past workout videos there in the park when I do muscle-ups or pull-ups or dips, that's exactly where I do them. And then sometimes, always I do one day, like here in my room maybe, where I do like push-ups. Sometimes I do also push-ups when I go to the park. So I do like pull-ups, muscle-ups, dips, and push-ups, right? Abs I tend to train when I go to the park and also once in my room. So like twice a week, like when I only do like abs exercises, like specifically for abs, like something I'm gonna do maybe here in a moment. Um, and then legs as well. Like I try to keep it at least once in a week. Sometimes if I can do two in a week, that's of course the best. And and then I normally use the Sunday, like Saturday on Sunday, to do the postural exercises, the corrective exercises that I think that are very helpful. And being a physical therapist, of course, that's what I want to promote. To keep on growing healthy, and that's it. So like in a week, probably I train 3 to 4 times now, and that's pretty much it. So not really a lot. Before I had a much stricter program, like I had the like push pull leg program. So like one day of push doing push-ups, then one day of pull doing like pull-ups, and one day of legs doing, I don't know, like anterior chain, then break, and then again push pull and leg. So I had another day of push, in this case was dips, then I had a pull that was mostly like muscle ups and or like chin ups, some different variations, pull-ups, and then another day of legs, normally doing the posterior chain, and then the corrective exercise. So like I trained 5 to 6 days a week, so that was a lot more, but now I cannot keep it up, and also because it's a lot of time that you have to use for the training. And for me at the moment, I enjoy a lot like doing muscle ups and improving in that area, but in other areas I don't feel like the need to maybe train that much. So I just train as just to maintain myself, maybe improve a little, but not really as much as I did in the past. So that's it. And yeah, those were the two main questions really that you guys asked me like in the past couple of weeks in different videos comments. So yeah, if you have any other questions, of course I have the live chat there on the screen so I can see it. And now I'm gonna just do some exercises. Why not? Just some maybe abs, shoulders, especially some corrective exercises like for the scapulas, for the rotator cuff, and yeah. So I'm gonna be here. I hope you guys can see. I should be able to see. Alright, so it's just a warming up here, the abs. So normally what I do here is I try to pull with my back off the ground, so in that way I keep the abs already engaged, and then I just move my upper body, right? So in this way I'm keeping the abs always tight, like even when I go down my abs are tight. And let's just do, I don't know, 25, 30 of this, just to warm up a little. Alright. Ooh. There's a comment. Notorious, hi, welcome. Hi, I have a question. How do I know I'm ready for heavier weight in a particular exercise? So if you go to the gym and you're training with weights, normally what happens is that if you do like a certain amount of reps, for example, like with 20 kilos, you should be supposed to do like 6 reps, right? So at the beginning, very likely, it's gonna be hard to reach those 6, and you're gonna have to like push, especially the last last rep or last 2 are gonna be quite tiring. And now when you have to start adding more weight, because it starts to be easy. So like you start reaching those same amount of reps with the same weight, but you don't feel tired. Like you feel like you could go more, you could do more reps. When that happens, you can do two things. You can either increase the amount of reps or you can add more weight. So you can keep the same reps ratio, for example, like 6 or 8, but then you add more weight. So normally, like the rule, I think it's like every 2 weeks that you tend to add a little bit more weight. So for 2 weeks at least, you train with the same weight, and then after 2 weeks, normally your muscles are already used to that weight, and therefore you add a bit more. So in that way, you can always make your muscles to get tired, to never reach a point which it's super easy to do the exercise, so you don't even get tired. So that's what I would say. And I'm not a specific trainer for weight training, but based on my knowledge and based on what I've seen and what I have been studying, like from being a physical therapist, I think that's pretty much the ratio. So yeah, you either increase the amount of reps or you increase the weight. So that's just it. Pitman 47, hi, welcome. The more exercising in a quicker time or a length of time. Oh, you were trying to reply to the other person comment, or maybe you did that. But yeah, there are, I don't know if you guys know, I have made a video, but maybe I'm gonna just repeat myself. There are different kinds of strengths, right? So you have the strength, the absolute strength, let's just call it like that, where it's just how much force your muscles can do, right, against a certain weight or against a certain resistance, all right? So like how much they can pull or push, all right? That's pretty much it. And so let's consider that as the absolute strength. But then there are other types of strengths. For example, there is the endurance strength. And in that way, for example, instead, is how much your muscle can exert in just one motion. So it's not one rep max, but is instead how many reps in a row can that muscle do before it gets too tired. That's called the endurance strength. So you can already see that just by looking at these two strengths, they are completely different, because one is the maximum force your muscles can do in just one rep. The other one instead is how many repetitions you can do before you get too tired. So already you can see that in order to develop one strength or the other, you're going to need to train in different ways, right? Training with lots of weight, very low reps, for example, like 1, 2, 3 reps maximum, very high volume, sorry, not volume, but very high weights, so very heavy weights, normally should allow you to increase your maximum strength, but not your endurance, because if you end up resting a ton of time between the reps, then normally that's what you should do, because in order to be able to even move that amount of weight, you need to take time to rest. But your endurance strength is not being trained. In order to train your endurance, you have to decrease the weight by a lot, body weight, or you can still train with weights, endurance, but they must be pretty light, and you have to do a lot of reps in a row. You have to really feel your heart, your breathing, that you're lacking. So you need oxygen. That's normally the endurance part. And then there is a third type of endurance, that is the power strength. So it's the power strength. So in this case, the power, so the powerful strength, is how quickly can a muscle contract. So how quickly can you move a certain weight or a certain resistance in space. And for example, there are a lot of sports where athletes, they don't need to have a super high maximum strength. They don't either need to have a lot of endurance strength, but they need to have a lot of power, because like the sprinters, right? If you sprint for 100, 200 meters, you have to have a lot of power. So your muscle has to allow you to travel as quickly as possible to reach first, right? So we're not talking here about endurance, we're not talking about maximum strength, because it's normally is your own body weight, or is like launching the javelin, like the javelin throw, or the hammer throw, or any other of those explosive movements normally require power. So again, the training for that strength is different because you're gonna need to train a lot with jumps, sprints, lots of very quick movements. Normally, like it's a lot of jumps, so you end up doing lots of jumps because it's especially the power of the lower body. But for example, in boxing as well, you require power for the upper body. So if you know boxers, there is a lot of training when they just train how quickly they can punch and then they can go back to their position. So you see that depending on what your goal is, so what your sport is, what your end goal is, you're gonna be training in different ways. So it's unfortunate that many times like people only think about strength like as absolute strength, right? For example, the maximum force, but it's not only that. So it's just it. Just summarizing the explanation. So yeah, I hope I was able to answer to your comments. So I'm gonna just here probably grab this 2 kilos dumbbell, alright? So very pretty light. And I'm gonna just do a couple of exercises here for the abs. Just putting myself like this so you guys should be able to see. So here is the weight. Alright, and just bringing it up, and I'm gonna just touch here the ground, and then I'm gonna move down like this. And here, very important is that your low back should never arch. Here, super important, right? You always want to keep your low back in touch with the ground. I hope I'm not gonna hurt anything. Okay. I don't know how many I did. I think I did like around 30. So yeah, it's also, for example, for training abs. Normally abs are muscles that tend to stabilize, right? So like it's not super important or actually at all important training your abs for their absolute strength. You have to train them for your endurance, stability, mostly. So yeah, you have different fibers here. You're gonna have the rectus abdominis, you have the obliques. So depending on how you move, you're gonna be activating and training those fibers a bit more. So it's not just about the six pack, it's about also the very deep transversus abdominis. That, for example, is a muscle that it's very important for the posture and the health of the lower back, where people tend to have a lot of issues. So that's why, for example, the most common mistake that people do when they do abs is that if they do any kind of motion with the upper body or with the legs, when they are like going down from the motion. So for example, if I'm going up here, right, and then I'm pulling and I'm going back down, what people do is they arch the low back, right? And you can really see because you can just put a hand beneath your low back and you can really feel it, being arched. And now this what happens is that you lose completely the tension of the abs and especially the transversus abdominis, and you put your low back in a high risk of injury because you are not doing the motion correctly. So that's why, for example, I don't know if you could see it, but I always recommend to always try to close yourself as you're going down and keep closed. Like even here, so even if my arms go back, but here I'm closed. So I'm not open, but I'm closed. So my low back here, see, it's touching the ground. So my hand cannot slide in. And the same here goes for the legs. So for example, I see so many people, doing these exercises, and when the legs go down, so for example, at this stage, they arch, right? They arch the low back, and then they go up again. And that's again the same mistake. you end up straining your low back a ton, and that's bad for your low back health, so you might end up having issues. So exactly the same as when you're moving your torso, when you're moving your legs and your hips. You wanna, like when you go down, you wanna keep your abs tight. And unfortunately here, like you need a lot of strength to be able to keep the low back touching the ground and being able to lower your legs as low, for example, as this. Like for example, I'm even struggling here, like to keep my legs here and to keep my low back touching. So it's not easy. So that's why you should adapt, know which exercise you do for your strength. So for example, if I know that if I go as low as here, I'm struggling, then I stop a little bit earlier, right? And I only do, for example, this. So this is also good. It's not like I'm reducing the range of motion. I'm just adapting and I'm training the range of motion in which I can keep on doing the exercise correctly. So that's something that's it's very important. And so many people do abs wrong. It's one of the most basic movements, maybe, or one of the most common movements that you're gonna see people training. And if you pay attention, even to pretty famous YouTubers online, like 90% of them do abs wrong. Do abs by arching the low back, especially when they are in the toughest positions. You're gonna see them arching the low back, and that's something that's super unhealthy and super bad. So yeah, just be careful. Alright, so let's do another cycle here of these ones. Alright. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20. All right. Woo. 25. Not bad. And always keeping the abs contracted. It becomes a lot harder if rather than letting the low back arch, so like relaxing your core muscles, you keep them tight. So that's why your low back, like if you imagine the low back and your, like here is your core, right? Core muscles. And here is your low back. So what happens is that if you have your core tight, so you have your core that goes like this, because when abs contract, they're gonna do this, right? They take the pelvis towards your chest, all right? And what happens if all these two move together? So if the core is moving and is contracting, also the low back is contracting. And if you imagine, the low back being against the ground, that means that it's touching more the ground. Instead, if you relax your abs, and so your abs go like this, so they go down, right, like this, then what happens is that you arch your low back, right, because it's both together. So if one arches, the other one also arches. So that's why it's linked together. And therefore, if you keep your core always tight, even when you are relaxing, so you are in the portion of the movement where you shouldn't be straining that much, but you keep it tight, it becomes a lot tougher because you always are keeping tension in the core. So it gets also more exhausting because you're training more effectively. And yeah, so that's the secret. That's the secret for core training, keeping always the core tight. So I've done here 2 cycles doing just a top-down motion. So I guess I'm gonna now do bottom up movement. So I'm moving, keeping my torso fixed, and I'm gonna move my legs. And as I showed you before, you always wanna control how low you go so that you don't arch your low back. So I'm gonna just have to move slightly like this to have more room, right? And again here, I just recommend placing your hands, right, beneath your pelvis, so that way you also are helping the pelvis not to move anteriorly, so you to keep it, tight. Okay, that was 15, I think. And actually, yeah, I don't know if you guys can see what's going on with my low back here and why I know I put so much attention there. I'll try here. Let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can actually move myself like to the side, because I have the bed here, so like I don't have any room. But I'll try to place myself like this so you guys can see from the side what I'm saying about the low back. So let me go as close here as possible. Yeah, that should be good. So can you guys see here my low back? Alright. So what happens is that most people, when they do this exercise, here the low back is fine. When they go down, down, they do this. Look at my low back. Look. See how it's arching here? So that's bad, alright? So instead what you wanna do is I'm gonna just put my hands here so you guys can see. You're gonna keep it tight, and when you go down, you're gonna keep it tight. See? So it's a lot harder because you have to actively always think about pressing down with your stomach on the ground. Not arching, not doing it the easy way, but pressing. And of course that's a lot tougher. So that's where you can see also I'm not like going super low with my legs. I'm keeping a bit higher. And yeah. So just here from the side so you guys can see my low back here as I'm doing the exercise. So up, down, and here I have my bed unfortunately, so I cannot even like show it to you properly, but always keeping the low back here in touch of the ground. So, and here you have to keep your core tight to be able to do this, because if you just do and then you contract and you do this, right, that's bad. So I hope I was able to give you kind of the idea of what I'm doing, right? So yeah. So I'm gonna do another set here. Like in explaining, I ended up also doing a lot of reps, so I'm gonna just do here one more set. And then let's start adding a bit of rotation. Why not? Thankfully here I have some air coming from the small ventilator. Here, I don't know if to call it air conditioner, because it's not conditioning the air, but it's just blowing air. So let's just call it air blower. All right. Always touching with the low back. It's especially hard when you start getting tired to keep the low back and the abs always tight. Okay. Goes with another 15, I think. Sorry about also the lighting here. I don't know why. It's a function that I've tried to disable from the phone, but I cannot disable it. So it's always like it increases the light or decreases it depending on where I move. I've tried to disable it, but I can't. So just that. Alright, so that was 2. So let's add now some rotation component. So let's do some Russian twists, right? I have here the dumbbell. So like in the Russian twist, what you're keeping yourself like in this position. So your like legs, your feet are not touching the ground. So you're keeping this already tight position with the abs, not arching, the low back, but keeping it tight. And then very simply, you just rotate as you would like to put the weight into like behind you, like from the side and behind you, and then you go again to the center and you do the same from the other side. And you just keep rotating, one side and the other as you keep everything under tension. So that's one, very easy way to train, the rotation. Then I might do also these surfing crunches after. Some more rotation. Yeah. So at least the quality of the phone is pretty good, but that's the only thing it's nice. The lightning, I think the other phones I had before were better for all the lightning, problems. All right, so right here. So you keep everything tight, and then you rotate. It's fine that your legs are gonna move a little, right? But always try to like actively rotate as much as you can, as you would like to place the weight behind you, right? Like this. Alright. Set up before, gracias. So that's pretty much how it looks like when you do the exercise, trying to rotate as much as you can. So I'm very hot here. Despite the ventilator, so I'm gonna adjust the air blower. I'm gonna adjust to this. All right. So let's do it again. All right. Ooh. So that was it. So some rotation. Let's do now the surfer crunches, right? To add some more rotation. And again, on the surfer crunches, you want to keep possibly your low back, touching the ground. So if anything, keep your legs a bit higher. That's what I recommend. But I'm gonna actually need to move this because I need a lot of room here for my arms to go back. So just rotating. All right. Ooh. Okay. let's go. I'm gonna try to rotate a little so you guys can actually see the exercise more from the side, because otherwise I don't think you can even understand what's going on. This one is always super tough to do. Just a little bit rest. I'm gonna do a couple more reps. So let's do 8 more. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ooh. So it's pretty much an exercise where you just keep your legs in the air, right? And then you just go up and then you rotate and then you go down. Up, rotate. So it's like a top-down movement with a rotation. So Sarta, hi, are you good at plank? Yeah. Normally, like the plank exercise is not too difficult if you are someone that trains abs consistently. But you know, as a physical therapist, I don't really like a lot the just holding the plank, because I don't know, I feel like there are better variations of it. So that's what I normally do and I would recommend everyone to do. So for example, rather than doing the usual, you know, plank that looks like this, right? If you just hold, right? That already, like if you look at 80% of people that do planks, they do them incorrectly. Because again, they are they're putting the pelvis and the shoulders at the same height, but they're not keeping the core tight. So normally you should be almost like rounded. So almost having your low back that is higher than your shoulders, almost. And then you should actively like push with your shoulders towards the front. So it's not like you sink, but you should be pushing. And yeah, many people just do it as they can. So it's not an exercise that it's performed correctly most of the times, but as I said before, the holding itself is pretty easy. So rather than, for example, only doing this, if you already start adding some variations, for example, like you put one knee towards the front like this, right? It's already better. For example, you can do something like this as well. You touch with your knee, your elbow, right? Like this. That's another variation. It's very nice. You can do also, you can move your legs, both of them at the same time, going towards the side. For example, there's another very nice variation that is this one. Right? You're just jumping. One towards the front, towards the side, towards the other side. So there are many variations of the plank that I think are much more effective, like if you want to train your core like that. So just holding, you know, you can train it, but it's not really that beneficial. There are better things to do. So yeah, no problem. And actually you have given me a very nice idea. So actually what I'm going to do now is going to be some of these, you know, movements where I just jump with my knees in. And yeah, always, you know, keeping the core tight. And as I said before, the most important thing here is your low back. So I'm gonna try to show it to you guys here. The low back here, all right, should be, I don't even know. All right, like this. So, like your low back, right here, should be like this. So like you should be pulling with your shoulders towards the front like this. You should be activating your core, squeezing your glutes, and that's the plank position. So that's already what you should be doing if you want to do the plank. Most people are gonna just hold on in whatever position they can, and that's of course no good. So yeah, let's just do this one now. Oh, another question here. What do you think is the best way to lose fat on abs? If you want to lose fat in this area, so in the belly area, unfortunately there isn't a best way. Like the amount of fat you have in your abdominal area, right? This is right here. It's related to your total body fat. So the body fat you have in your whole body. So that means that if you start losing weight overall, so you start losing fat from your whole body, you should also lose fat from the belly. You cannot pinpoint and you cannot lose fat only in a certain part of the body. That's a myth that has been already proven to be a myth and to be wrong. You cannot, like if you do a lot of abs, it's not like you are consuming the fat in this area, right? That's not how it works. So in order to reduce the fat in your belly area, you have to decrease your total body fat in your whole body. That's the only way that you can do it. And of course, any kind of endurance, cardio exercises where you end up sweating a lot, you end up consuming a lot of energy, that's what most likely is going to also consume more calories. And so if you are in a caloric deficit, so you're eating less calories than what you're consuming, your body's going to start consuming itself pretty much, so its own storages, to be able to still function. And that's how you start losing weight. And as you lose your total body fat, you're going to also start losing it from the belly. You cannot just lose fat in this area and keep it exactly the same in other parts of the body. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, and that's not how we work. So yeah, no problem. Thank you for the question. All right, so let's do this now. Oof. Okay, 1. Oh, okay, 30. Oh, sorry for the noise, but it's just this thing that just makes a lot of noise. I've run 10 minutes without stopping few minutes ago, so that's helped me. I really respect you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you. Now running is just another way to train. So you train a lot of your endurance, because it's running is just a motion that you do over and over during time. So of course you're training more your endurance in this way. And you're training your heart, your breathing. So yeah, 10 minutes maybe might not be as much, but as you start progressing, as you get better, you can start increasing that amount. So it's fine. The important thing, is that it's always challenging. It's not easy, because anything that it's easy is not really making you and helping you to grow and to become better. So should always try to aim for things that are not so easy to do, because those are going to help you a lot more. But yeah, running is fine. I like to cycling rather than running, but again, it's the same principle. So at the beginning, you might not be as fit, so you can do it for less of the time, maybe going slower. As you get better and better, you can start going faster for longer time, and yeah, it's just how you progress. After all, you're 15. Oh, so you're 14 years old. So yeah, you're pretty young. So don't really worry about that. You have plenty of time to grow. So running is completely fine. And yeah, actually, training the endurance is one of the best things you can do, because at your age, you haven't really developed in terms of muscularly. So even if you would start to train like with weights and all that stuff, it wouldn't be that beneficial for you because your body still needs to like develop in that sense. So running, doing any kind of team sports or sports overall is the best for you in your age. So yeah, congrats. Keep on going. All right, let's do one more set of these ones. Ouch. My shoulders are hurting, so I'm gonna just do it in this way. All right. 30. Uh, oof. So notorious here. So as a teenager, 14 cardio is better. Yeah, most of the times it is. At a very young age, lifting weights or doing too much of a strength training is not like the best you can do, because as I said before, you haven't still developed in terms of muscles, your puberty, so training so early with weights, you don't even see so many results. It's always better to wait until you're more developed, and then you can start training with weights. So that's what I recommend. Biking is good too. Yeah, exactly. Biking, like bicycle, right? Biking actually is something that I prefer to do rather than running. But yeah, just do whatever you prefer the most. It's fine. Like at a very young age, any kind of sport in which you run, jump, I don't know, throw, it's good. It's gonna help you to keep healthy, as you keep on developing during your teenage years. So yeah, it's just it. All right. Let's do now. Let's do some holds, right? Why not? Let's do some holds, and then I might do something for, like, as I said in the title, something for the shoulders, maybe some postural exercises. And yeah, I'm always here ready in case you guys have some questions. So now the holds I have, seeing this hold is super nice. And it's like this. You have to keep again the core super tight, arms behind your back, like up here, legs straight, and you just hold for time. So let's try. Like this. Oh, okay. Ooh, that was tough. Okay. Let me see, maybe now I can read. I'm down here. Okay. It's I don't know exactly the name of the exercise, like this one, right? The one that I was doing before. In Italian, it's called barchetta. That it would be translated like little ship, because it's looking like you are the ship, and you're just trying to hold on onto the sea. And yeah, it's just it. How long is the best rest? It depends on which exercises you're doing. For example, for abs, normally you wanna rest for very little, not too much resting. If you're training, like for example with weights or some strength training, then the resting should be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You know, you have to recover plenty before you start again. If you're training power of endurance, you should rest around between like 45 seconds and 1 minute and a half. Not as much as you would do with strength, and not even so low as with the abs or super fast exercises. So yeah, sometimes even like with endurance you can rest even less, maybe like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. With power, maybe 1 minute, 1 minute more. But yeah, there isn't like the best rest for every exercise. Depending on which exercise you're doing, you're resting for different times. So yeah. Alright, let's just repeat it again. This one. The sun is getting very low, guys. That's why you can see here the light coming from under the window. Alright, let's go. It was getting harder and harder to keep the low back flat against the ground. I was like feeling I was starting to lose it, you know, a little, start arching, so that's why I just stopped. Alright, and I think for abs that should be it. I've trained most of the motions. Maybe I can train here the obliques, the internal ones, by doing the side raises. So that, yeah, let's do that. $15. Change side. Okay. I'm gonna just do this. Yep. Okay, so there isn't as much light coming from the outside as before, so it should be better, right? Ooh. Okay. So I've done that. Let's do also some side lunges from the ground. So again, some side crunches. Again, for the internal obliques mostly. And yeah, I think for abs it's gonna be fine. I've trained all the different directions, movements. So, all right. So from here, what you do pretty much is you just slide and you touch your heel. These are called heel touchers or heel like wipers. Always keep your core tight here and just rotating from one side to the other. And really try to slide and to glide as much as you can towards the side. Okay. Ooh. And that's it. All right. Ooh, nice. So, which time is it? 7:57. Yeah, it's pretty late. So I'm gonna do something for the shoulders, maybe something for the scapulas, right? And then that's gonna be it for today, guys. All right. So this is gonna be interesting. It's been a very long time since I've done this one, so I don't know how hard or how well we'll be able to do them, but yeah, let's try. So, grabbing this, right, for the wrists. These are very simply some yeah, just throwing them, right? And now let's do some pike push-ups, right, for the shoulders, really, and let's see how it goes. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. All right. The head is a little bit dizzy, but other than that, it should be good. Yeah, these actually are used for push-ups, so that you keep your wrist like neutral. See, like this. So in case you have any problems with your wrists or anything of that sort, these are perfect. So that's why I'm using them. All right. So the first one was 10 reps, I think. Pretty good. It's just that the heat as well. Like I felt a lot of blood coming to my head. So I'm gonna actually just put here this thing. All right. So that it gives me more air. Right? More air to feel a little bit less the intensity. And yeah, let's go again. Okay. Oh. All right. Not too bad. too bad. Let's become a lever. What do you mean? Actually, I could maybe try with my feet on the wall, but maybe that's just too tough, right? So I'm gonna just keep on doing these ones. Let's do just one more set, 10, so that should be 30 reps in a row overall. Yeah, I feel good. My shoulders are a little bit tired, but I feel good. When you do your push-up, it does have a lever movement. Oh yeah, because like when you do push-ups, right? So from the side, you should never do this motion. Like look at my elbows, like this. That's bad for your shoulders. You're always gonna push up like this, right? With your elbows in front of you. So it's not exactly in front, but it's like in the scapular plane. So that's why you can see here me moving like this and then having my elbows in front, all right? So that's very important so that your shoulders are in a more healthy position. All right, let's go for the third set now. Ooh, all right. Oh, my legs. To be honest, guys, my legs were giving up. I wasn't able to do them in a row because my legs were just cramping up. Yes, my shoulders were tired, but it was the position of my feet that was more annoying. So yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, I don't know why I feel probably because I trained legs a couple of days ago and they still sore from that day. So yeah, that's most likely why. Oh. So that was 3 Pike push-ups. Then yeah, I could actually here use this. Right? And then let's just do something like this kind. Oh. Okay. Again, something for the shoulders, you know, for just the motion. Calm Steel, hi, welcome. Props to you for doing Pike push-ups with a form so clean. My hamstrings aren't flexible enough, so my legs give up really early. Yeah, that was exactly what happened to me as well. I don't know if you could see there, but I was less like trembling, and I wasn't able to keep the legs as tight. So yeah, I need still to work on my hamstrings flexibility. They feel too tight, and I would really like them to be more, flexible. But yeah, being a guy definitely doesn't help because we tend to be, more contracted, especially here on the posterior chain. but I'm trying to work with a little bit of stretching, a little bit of strengthening, trying to make the hamstrings more flexible. All right, let's go again here. This was. All right. Keeping here the core tight, so not arching the low back, but trying to keep it tight, so that you're using most of your shoulders. Come on, two more. Oh, okay. Whew. Working on the LC progressions gives amazing hamstring flexibility. You should try it. Oh yeah, the one where you just train doing this, right? Like you stand like this, and then you try to lift up your legs. I would argue that probably one of the best ways to increase the flexibility of the hamstrings is doing eccentric exercises. I might show them guys in another video. I've done in the past videos about that. And for example, this exercise, when you're just like here, like you're sliding with a foot towards the back, and then like your end position is something that looks like this, no? It's something that trains a lot the flexibility of the hamstrings, because they are under tension, but as well you are really stretching them. So like you're doing both things at once, and that's why it becomes pretty effective. But as well, like any exercise, when you have to keep your legs straight, it's good for the flexibility. Unfortunately here, many times the hamstrings are related to the pelvis. So look, for example, if I do this exercise, see here that my pelvis is super knocked up. See here? So in order to really train the hamstrings, you should try to put your pelvis like this, anterior tilted. And it looks like very small from here to here, but you feel it in your hamstrings by a ton. And that's why, for example, as well, the stretching from the hamstrings, right, should never be done like this when you just round everything, right? Because yes, you might be feeling it, but it's not as effective as instead you do it like this. You keep here the pelvis anterior tilted, and then you do this. Like here, for example, I feel it already a lot more than this, because here is all rounded. Instead here, right, my pelvis is anterior tilted. So that's controlling the hips. What happens here is the key to be able to progress and to stretch the hamstrings correctly. So now let's do something for the rear delts, right? So I'm gonna do something like this from the side so you guys can see. Wait. Okay. So from here, like this. So keeping the elbow very, very towards the side and trying to really pull with the back of the shoulder. Oh, okay, nice. And let's do the other side. heavy. Right. So trying to keep the shoulders, you know, as large as possible. So you do this kind of motion, right? Because if you do this, you're training a lot your lats and other muscles. Instead, if you do this, you're training more your real lats. So of course, that's the key. And maybe I could do some for the long head of the bicep here. It's normally pretty tough, but let's try to do it anyway. Alright. So like in order to do it properly, you have to like keep your arms straight like this, and then with the palm facing upwards, so you're activating more your biceps, you have to like lift and just anteriorly, so just like this. Boom. So you're training a lot the long head of the bicep, like this. Keeping always your elbows super straight. Don't flex it. And your shoulder, very important, must not go up. So it's not like this, right? But you should keep it down and just pulling up. Okay, that should be it. Let's see the other side. All right. Okay. 15. All right. Yeah, I wanted to do one more for the rear delts, to be honest. I feel like I haven't really trained them as much. So let's actually, can I go? Let's try. Right here. Like this, so you guys can see me from the back, right? All right. That's it, I guess, for today. So if you guys have any other questions, I will be more than happy to reply. Very good muscles here. Yeah, just, you know, trying to train all the different sides, because remember, shoulders means the anterior part, the lateral part, the posterior part, so really trying to train them in different directions. The Pike Push-Ups are pretty good because you train like most of the anterior and lateral part. So like you train already them more. It's mostly the posterior part that's pretty specific, and or if you're training the the long head of the bicep. Other than that, yeah, it's nice. So thanks again, guys, for all the comments, all the feedback. I hope you enjoyed, this stream. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments, and I will, in the next videos, I will try to just answer to them. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and see you soon. God bless you. Bye bye.